Toyota built the greatest, most indestructible, globally dominant off-road vehicle the world has ever seen. And then, they looked the American consumer dead in the eye and said, "No, you cannot buy it. You do not get the 300 Series Land Cruiser. You do not get the Global King. Instead, we are going to force you into a $90,000 Lexus in a tuxedo, or we are going to give you a 4-cylinder hybrid imposter that is currently blowing up transmission pumps before its first oil change. And the craziest part? You are going to pay a $20,000 markup for the privilege. And then, we are going to charge you a monthly subscription fee just to start the engine from your key fob." Welcome to the modern Toyota experience, where the badge says legendary reliability, but the service department says your twin-turbo engine just detonated on the highway. We need to have a very serious conversation about what is happening with the Toyota Land Cruiser, the Lexus LX600, and the absolute chaos unfolding in the American luxury utility market. For decades, the Land Cruiser was the one sure thing in the automotive world. It was the vehicle you bought when you wanted to cross a desert, survive a warlord, or just ensure that your grandchildren would have a reliable car to drive to college. It was the gold standard of over-engineering. But the transition to the new Toyota New Global Architecture body-on-frame platform, the shift away from naturally aspirated V8 engines, and the aggressive pursuit of downsized turbocharged hybrids has completely fractured the identity of this legendary nameplate. To understand the absurdity of the American market right now, you have to look at how the rest of the world lives. If you are in Australia, the Middle East, or parts of Africa, the Land Cruiser 300 series is a functional god. It is a workhorse, a desert basher, a continent crosser. In those markets, buyers demand absolute, undeniable capability without pretense. But Toyota looked at the United States and realized something very cynical but completely accurate about American buyers. Americans do not buy Land Cruisers to cross the Serengeti. They buy them to cross the parking lot at Whole Foods. They buy them for status, for the illusion of ruggedness, and because they want a high seating position while they complain about the price of organic milk. So, Toyota bifurcated the strategy. They denied America the true 300 series. Instead, they gave us two heavily compromised alternatives. Option 1 is the Lexus LX600, which is the mechanical twin to the Global 300 series, but smothered in heavy leather, massive grills, and 22-inch wheels that would instantly shatter if you actually took them on a rocky trail. Option 2 is the new 250 series, which Toyota is marketing in America as simply the Land Cruiser. But the rest of the world correctly identifies as the Land Cruiser Prado, the smaller, cheaper, 4-cylinder little brother. Let us start with the big dog, the Lexus LX600. Because this is where the illusion of Toyota invincibility is currently crashing into a very expensive reality. The old 200 series had a thirsty, lazy, naturally aspirated 5.7-liter V8. It got 14 miles per gallon, and it would easily outlive human civilization. To meet modern emissions, Toyota threw that engine in the trash and replaced it with a 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6, known internally as the V35A engine. It produces 409 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. On paper, it is a massive upgrade. But here's the catch. And it is a catch that is currently tearing up the owner forums and giving dealership service managers actual nightmares. These twin-turbo engines are failing. They are failing suddenly, violently, and catastrophically on the highway. We are talking about complete engine replacements on vehicles that cost north of $100,000. Why? Because of machining debris. During the manufacturing process, Toyota somehow left microscopic metal shavings inside the engine block. They did not clean the blocks properly before assembly. When you run the engine, this debris circulates in the oil, scores the main bearings, causes severe friction on the crankshaft, and eventually, the engine just eats itself alive. Imagine spending $110,000 on the ultimate luxury survival vehicle. You are driving down the interstate, confident in your Japanese reliability, and suddenly, your dashboard lights up like a pinball machine. All power cuts out, and you are coasting to the shoulder in a dead 6,000-pound brick. The repair bill out of pocket would be roughly $65,000 if it were not covered by a recall. Toyota is currently recalling over 100,000 of these engines across the Tundra and the Lexus LX lines. They literally have to replace the entire short block. Think about the irony here. The entire point of buying a Land Cruiser product, the only reason you put up with the terrible infotainment and the cramped third-row seating is because it is not supposed to break. If you wanted a complicated turbocharged nightmare that lives in the service bay, you could have just bought a German luxury sport utility vehicle and at least enjoyed better massage seats while you waited for the tow truck. But wait, maybe you think you can outsmart the system. Maybe you decide to ignore the expensive Lexus, skip the twin-turbo V6, and buy the new, smaller, retro-styled Land Cruiser 250 series. It has a sensible 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder hybrid engine. It looks fantastic. It has those cool heritage round headlights. It is exactly what American enthusiasts have been begging for, right? Well, let us look at the reality of buying and owning this new darling of the off-road community. First of all, the pricing logic is deeply broken. The manufacturer's suggested retail price is supposed to be somewhat reasonable, starting around $55,000. But try actually walking into an American dealership and paying that. Dealers are treating this thing like it is made of solid gold. They are slapping $10,000, $15,000, even $20,000 market adjustments on the sticker. You have buyers on Reddit proudly admitting they paid $75,000 for a 4-cylinder hybrid Prado. And what do you get for that massive premium? You get to be Toyota's beta tester. Owners with barely 1,000 miles on the odometer are reporting catastrophic transmission failures. People are driving home from the dealership or taking their first mild trip up a paved mountain road, and suddenly the hybrid system malfunction warning pops up. The transmission fluid overheats, the truck locks itself into 6th gear, the hybrid motor shuts down, and you are crawling back to the dealer. The diagnosis? A failed transmission pump. And because this is a brand new global platform experiencing unexpected failures, there are no parts. The transmissions are on national backorder. So you, the proud owner of a brand new highly marked up Land Cruiser, get to make massive monthly payments on a truck that is sitting in a dusty backlot behind the dealership while you drive around in a base model loaner car for 3 months. Is this the legendary ownership experience you paid a premium for? Let us talk about the hybrid fuel economy, because this is another hilarious contradiction. Toyota heavily promoted this 4-cylinder hybrid setup, claiming it would revolutionize the efficiency of the platform. The sticker on the window proudly advertises 22 to 26 miles per gallon. The reality? Owners are logging onto the forums furious because they are averaging 16.8 miles per gallon on the highway. Even driving in eco mode, even trying to hypermile a massive box on wheels, the real-world fuel economy is barely better than the old thirsty V8. But now, instead of the smooth bulletproof reliability of a V8, you have the complexity of a turbocharger, an electric motor, a high-voltage battery, and a transmission that wants to grenade itself on a steep hill. And to add insult to injury, the new engine requires premium fuel. So you are getting terrible mileage, and you are paying 20% more at the pump for the privilege. But the mechanical issues are only half the story. We have to talk about the culture of corporate greed that Toyota has fully embraced, specifically regarding software and subscriptions. This is perhaps the most insulting part of modern Toyota ownership. You buy a top-tier luxury vehicle, you pay off the loan, the vehicle is your personal property, and Toyota decides they still want to bleed you dry every single month. I am talking about the remote start subscription scam. If you have a newer Toyota or Lexus, you probably use the remote start on cold mornings or hot afternoons. It is a basic feature that cars have had for 20 years. But Toyota has locked the key fob remote start functionality behind a paywall. Once your free trial period expires, if you do not pay them $8 to $15 a month for their connected services subscription, they disable the remote start. Not just from the phone app, which you could argue requires server maintenance, but from the physical radio frequency key fob in your hand. Owners have discovered that if you do not pay the ransom, the physical button combination on the fob, click 3 times and hold on the third, simply stops working. The signal is blocked by the car's computer because you did not pay your monthly subscription to use a piece of hardware that you already own. It is completely absurd. People on the forums are enraged, and rightfully so. You spend $80,000 on a premium off-roader, and the manufacturer treats you like a tenant renting software in your own driveway. It is a hostile, anti-consumer practice that perfectly captures the arrogance of a brand that thinks its customers will never leave. And speaking of expensive surprises, let us address the suspension systems. If you buy a higher trim of these luxury utility vehicles, you might get the Kinetic Dynamic Suspension System. It is an incredibly clever hydraulic system that automatically disconnects the sway bars off-road for massive wheel articulation and stiffens them up on the highway for flat cornering. When it works, it is brilliant. It makes a heavy, body-on-frame truck drive like a much smaller vehicle. But here's what the brochure does not tell you. The system is highly susceptible to corrosion and fluid leaks, especially if you live in a state where they salt the roads in the winter. Right around the 40,000-mile mark, just conveniently after the factory 36,000-mile warranty expires, the front or rear pistons start to weep hydraulic fluid.
The dashboard light comes on. You take it to the dealer, expecting a minor fix.
The service advisor looks at you, takes a deep breath, and quotes you $5,000 to replace the entire system because the lines are integrated and prone to contamination. If you are in Canada, owners have been quoted up to $17,000 for a full system replacement. Suddenly, that brilliant off-road articulation feels like a financial hostage situation. This brings us to the core contradiction of the modern American Land Cruiser buyer. Who is actually buying these things? In Europe, driving a vehicle of this size is a logistical nightmare. The streets are too narrow, the parking spaces are too small, and the fuel costs are astronomical. In Japan, you practically have to prove you have a large enough parking space just to register a vehicle this massive. But in America, our infrastructure is built for giants.
The highways are wide, the parking lots at big box stores are endless,
and fuel, relatively speaking, is still cheap enough that people do not care. So Americans buy these massive, heavy, off-road focused vehicles as family haulers. They use a locking center differential and low-range gearing to navigate the pickup lane at elementary schools. They buy them because they represent safety, status, and the theoretical promise that if the world ends tomorrow, they could drive through a concrete wall and survive. But Toyota knows this. They know that 99% of these vehicles will never see anything rougher than a wet grassy field at a youth soccer tournament. And because they know this, they compromised the vehicle. They made the Lexus LX600 ride worse on 22-inch wheels just so it looks better in a valet line. They made the third-row seats fold flat into the floor, but it raises the cargo deck so high that you lose a massive amount of usable trunk space. They put 2 screens in the center console of the Lexus, and the software is so clunky and disjointed that it feels like operating a digital automated teller machine from the early 2000s. They sacrificed the simple, brutal durability of the past to give the American consumer the illusion of modernity. But the illusion is cracking. When a brand built entirely on the concept of unkillable reliability starts having twin-turbo engines tear themselves apart from the inside out, and 4-cylinder transmissions failing on the drive home from the dealership, the entire value proposition collapses. If a Land Cruiser is not reliable, what is it? It is just a very heavy, somewhat uncomfortable, wildly expensive, inefficient box that handles worse than a unibody crossover. If you take away the reliability, you are left with a car that makes absolutely no logical sense.
If you want pure luxury, the Mercedes-Benz GLS or the BMW X7 will completely obliterate the Lexus LX600 in terms of ride quality, interior technology, and highway dynamics. They are quieter, faster, and infinitely more comfortable for third-row passengers. If you want a massive family hauler, a Chevrolet Tahoe or a Ford Expedition offers double the interior space for significantly less money. The only reason you buy the Toyota or the Lexus is the belief that it will run forever. It is the belief that long after the German luxury sport utility vehicles have depreciated into electrical nightmares sitting in a salvage yard, your Toyota will still be effortlessly firing up on cold mornings. But with machining debris in the V6 blocks, failed hybrid transmission pumps, $5,000 suspension leaks, and key fobs that demand a monthly ransom, can you really trust that promise anymore? Are these vehicles a used market trap? Right now, the older, naturally aspirated V8 models are skyrocketing in value because the enthusiast community is terrified of these new powertrains. People are paying insane premiums for 5-year-old Land Cruisers with 80,000 miles on them simply because they know the old 5.7-liter engine will not eat its own bearings. The market is speaking loud and clear. Buyers do not want forced induction complexity. They want lazy, thirsty durability. Toyota is banking on the reputation to sell these new models. They are banking on the fact that you will see the badge and blindly write a check for $90,000. And for a lot of buyers, that strategy will work. The dealerships will keep marking them up, and the people who care more about the heritage round headlights than the transmission pump will keep buying them. But there is a very real, very expensive lesson waiting for the early adopters of this generation. You are not buying the legendary, unkillable Desert King of the 1990s.
You are buying a highly complex, heavily restricted, subscription-gated computer on wheels that was built during a messy transitional period in automotive history. So here is the final reality check. If you have the money, and you are leasing the vehicle under full warranty, and you just want the newest, coolest-looking box on the block, then sure, the new Land Cruiser 250 looks fantastic, and the Lexus LX600 makes a bold statement. Enjoy the ride. Let the dealership deal with the warranty claims and hand the keys back in 3 years before the expensive suspension seals start leaking. But if you are the traditional Toyota buyer, the person who buys a car intending to keep it for 15 years and 200,000 miles, the person who views a vehicle as a long-term mechanical partnership rather than a disposable appliance, you need to run far away from these early production models. Do not pay $20,000 over sticker for a transmission that belongs on a backorder list. Do not buy a twin-turbo V6 until Toyota permanently proves they know how to clean their own engine blocks at the factory. And most importantly, do not reward a company that thinks they have the right to charge you $15 a month to use the remote start button on a key you already paid for. Is this car secretly smart? No. It is an overhyped compromise hiding behind one of the greatest automotive legacies in history. It is better than people think off-road, but it is infinitely worse than people think on a spreadsheet. I want to know what you think. Am I being too harsh on the growing pains of a new global platform? Are you willing to overlook exploding engines and subscription fees just to own the ultimate off-road badge? Or has Toyota finally crossed the line, traded their reliability for complexity, and alienated the exact buyers who made them legendary in the first place? Let me know in the comments, and tell me if you would rather risk the new twin-turbo era or overpay for a thirsty, outdated V8 that will actually get you home.